Hello and welcome to episode 40 of Next Gen Newsweek. I can't believe we've made it to 40 episodes. This is awesome. We only have 12 more to go, and then we'll have be 1 year of gaming news. Anyway, this is going to be your weekly podcast for March 11th, 2021. We have a little bit of news to talk about, but there's honestly been not a lot going on. Unfortunately, we weren't able to record last week because of scheduling issues, but we really didn't miss out on anything by waiting a week, and we still have pretty much the same stuff to talk about. Before we get into that, let's introduce everybody. So we have Steven.
Yo.
Richard.
Sorry. Caught me while I was adjusting.
Oh. Michael.
Hey.
And my name is Mitch. So we're going to spend a good chunk of this episode talking about something that's kind of been just going on in the background for a long time, which has been this massive amount of video game movies and TV shows that are slowly starting to seep out and potentially going to start coming out this year, if not next year at the earliest. Before we do that, though, since we didn't record last week, we have not had a chance to talk about what happened during the Pokemon Day celebration. Which was two big announcements, being the remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and then the Pokemon game that I never thought I'd ever see in my lifetime, but is happening, which is an open world Pokemon game, being Pokemon Legends. Is it Arceus or Arceus?
I want to say it's Arceus.
All right, we'll go with that, Arceus. So before we get into that really big topic, though, Michael, your favorite generation's Gen 4, right?
It is.
So, how do you feel about the Diamond and Pearl remakes?
Well, they said it's going to be a 1-1 remake. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess we'll see what the majority of fans are going to say. But I don't think a 1-1 remake would be truly the best for that series.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be...
it definitely has some growth to it.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be completely one-to-one because you don't have two screens, so they have to redo some stuff for it. I think I saw something where Mega Evolution was coming back for this, and I was like, it can't be one-to-one if they're bringing back Mega Evolution.
Right, and I'm sure some stuff will be added, like post-Pokedex, like post-in-game, whatever, like you beat the Elite Four, and then it's like, oh, there's some other regions we have. So maybe like the initial playthrough might be 1-1, but then hopefully they might open it up for that, or have the forgot what generation it was, but like different like raids of Pokemon will just swarm through.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be interesting to see.
I've always kind of wished Pokemon had this, but this is the generation to do it because of how hard the final boss is, the champion Cynthia. Like, everyone always talks about how like she's like the most ridiculous champion fight. I would love to see Pokemon implement a hard mode for the people who've been playing Pokemon for forever and just crank it up. Like, make it the hardest
Battle
Pokemon.
Tower.
Yeah, but like I want to play like the whole game in a hard mode.
Yeah, because that's I think their first attempt at that, if you can even call it that, was with Gold, Silver, and Crystal, to where you beat the Elite Four, and then you went from the Johto League back to Kanto, and everybody was like significantly harder. But I mean, it was taken away because everybody knew about the rare candy hack that you can do on it, so it kind of took away from it. So I hope they do have a hard mode.
Well, not to mention the final fight against Red was probably one of the hardest fights in Pokemon.
That was mine, yeah.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure of fighting Cynthia. I just know that her theme is just it's a great piece of music. So, but Richard, how are you feeling about Diamond and Pearl remakes? You think you'll actually pick these up?
Yeah, if Maddie wants it.
Well,
I think my biggest issue with it is the art direction with it. I know they were trying to stay faithful to the original, but I'm just kind of like, I'm over the little bitty chibi looking characters. Like, I want to see like if nothing else, like the X and Y, where they're a little bit taller, but then they flow into the fully sized characters, and in this they're like, no, they're just little bitty Game Boy sprites, or 3DS sprites. But now then, when you go into a battle, they just grow into regular sized humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I'm definitely willing to give it a try, though. I just wonder, like, I have other questions because, like, are they gonna do the platinum stuff at the end of it, like where you have to go into like fight Giratina,
You know,
or are they gonna save that and do a Pokemon Platinum remake next year?
well, it just seems like recently the past 3 Pokemon games, it's like the regular game, you've got a post game, and then you've got post past that.
Mm.
So that's probably the direction they're gonna go. I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That brings up a good point. Like, I think Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were like the best remakes. They added so much content. Like, and you can literally get on any Pokemon that can fly, and you can literally fly around the entire overworld and land wherever you want to. And like, to your point, Michael, like if if it is just a 1-to-1 remake, it's kind of disappointing because you can't do stuff like that anymore.
Right.
Like, I'd much rather them just be like, hey, we're gonna tweak it a little bit, do something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Because like, if I'm not mistaken, they took HMs straight out of the game, didn't they?
Yeah,
They turned them into
to me,
TMs.
that's the best thing they could have ever done.
Yeah.
Was come out with those like help Pokemon, and just you have like a meter or whatever, like some sort of device which just calls them whenever you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's great.
Makes for better strategizing for the Battle League. So yeah.
Yeah, because then you don't have to have like an HM slave that's just like no surf and waterfall and dive and fly or flash or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, or some points having to carry around 2 of them. Like, you're weak in your team doing that crap.
Yeah.
But they did say that those are going to be coming out at the end of this year. So we have until December 31st. It'll probably be like the first week of December. That's the last week of November. First week of December is typically when Pokemon games come out. So it'll be around that time. Mm-hmm. And then the big one for me was Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is an open world Pokemon game that looks like Breath of the Wild, but it's set in like the beginning of the Sinnoh region, which is where Diamond and Pearl takes place. And the minute that gameplay came up, I was sold. It's like the Pokemon game I've always wanted. And the whole concept behind it is you are the original trainer going to make the first Pokédex for the region. So you're starting out with random Pokemon from different generations, and if you pick Rowlet or Cyndaquil, you're going to be good. Oshawott, meh. But you get to pick those, and then you get to do battles and stuff like that, and there's not like a transition screen between battles and Overworld. It just flows right into it. You get to be kind of stealthy, and you can throw Pokeballs, or you can battle the Pokemon. Lots of other stuff. But, Michael, back to you. What do you think about Pokemon Legends?
Well, I understand why they chose the starters. It fits thematically with the... it's not quite a ninja theme, but just a pseudo sort of just hierarchy to Japan, like, like... kind of hard to explain, but just like they chose the Pokemon specifically for the thematic elements that they have. So that's why you have Rowlet, who evolves to a grass flying, which seems so unbalanced compared to the other two. But like thematically speaking, they fit the best together, I think.
Well, Rowlet, who by the way is my favorite starter Pokemon, is Grass Ghost type.
Oh yeah, that's right. Not
grass
grass flying, Grass Ghost.
Yes. He's the only dual type starter Pokemon in the whole set.
Right. So yeah, it just seems unbalanced to have him with the other two. But I mean, at the same time, grass has been needing an edge for a while as far as starters go. I mean, I'm a Bulbasaur fanboy through and through, and there's different things for him. But I mean, push comes to shove, he was, the least chosen originally when they came out. Nowadays, he's chosen better as far as like versatility in a match, but when it came out, there wasn't all those matchups. I think it's going to be a really interesting game overall,
Yeah.
and we'll see.
Yeah. Steven, were you blown away by the trailer too?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Of course, I think as soon as open world games were a thing, I think that everybody was thinking that was a Pokemon fan. Oh, it would be great to have it open world. It sucks it took them this long to get to it, but I'm definitely excited for it to see how it goes. I mean, it kind of left a little bit for the imagination. Of course, you can hide and catch Pokemon and things like that. I'm just wondering how the dialogue is going to go because it seems like the basis for Pokedex in each generation is pretty much the same. But is this around the time? I'm not really sure. Is this around the time when Rotom came into play to where they were making Rotom Dexes? Or is this like a generation ahead?
This is like thousands, or not, maybe not thousands, but like hundreds of years before present day Pokemon.
Gotcha.
Like the Pokeballs that they use are made out of wood, and they're kind of got like a steampunky look to them, where there's like a little twist cap at the top of them. And the Pokeballs aren't like that's some YouTuber made a comment about this. How they always stay like the big size. They're not able to like shrink down to be like where the trainers keep them on their waist. Like they're just these gigantic wooden Pokeballs that they throw. But whenever you catch a Pokemon, a little thumbs up of smoke comes out of the top of it. It's kind of cool.
So it makes me wonder though. I know they were looking for a way to really be innovative and everything, but it seemed like that would play closer to the Johto region because I know specifically there was a guy he wasn't in Goldenrod City. I can't remember what city he was in, but he specifically made Pokeballs out of the little acorns or that you had to make. So it would have made sense to incorporate Johto in there somehow. I don't know if they had maybe the guy started over there and moved over to Johto or just something.
Well, I think the little bit of backstory we got was that the professor, he's from another region and he's been to other regions, and that's why all the starters come from different regions. And they do have Cyndaquil, who is a Johto starter, so I mean there could be a connection. Richard, anything to add into that, or anything to add to it?
I mean, it would be something that I'd be into, but when you first introduced it, you made the comparison to Breath of the Wild, and watching the trailer, I definitely got that empty world sensation, and that's a big concern for me. I don't, my experience with Pokemon is definitely a lot different than yours, and or any of you for that matter. I would say that probably the biggest draw I have towards Pokemon came from the movie, the Detective Pikachu movie. If it was that sort of an open world, I would be all over it. The fact that they chose to go thousands of years, because or not thousands, hundreds, whatever. It's further enough back to where I get almost like these. Not Stone Age vibes, but definitely like
primitive.
It's supposed to be like imperialistic Japan type of setting.
And that's just not what I want to see. I want an open world that's more like the world that they created for the film, which is more modern. They had Pokemon, that are kind of incorporated into society really well, but you had these big lavish cities and these bright lights and had that kind of Neo Tokyo. That's the kind of open world I want, like a big, lively type of world. And I didn't get that from the trailer. I got kind of an empty world. And like what Steven had said about dialogue, there doesn't seem to be like a lot of people either. So I don't know. I have questions, I have concerns, but I'm not doubting it at this point. I'm still on board. Put it that way.
I had two questions while watching the trailer. They didn't show. I know it's supposed to be like a cinematic trailer. It's still early in development. There was no text boxes shown, which that happened when Breath of the Wild was first shown off. Everybody started questioning whether there was going to be voice acting in the game. So there could potentially be voice acting for the first time in Pokemon. Secondly, the frame rate in the trailer is dog shit. If you actually watch it. So now everyone, this is just adding more fuel to there is going to be a more powerful Switch coming this year or first thing next year for the 5th anniversary of the Switch. Because you're going to need something powerful to play it on. Because I'll tell you right now that if that game runs at 10 to 20 frames per second, I'm skipping it. I can't do it.
Then you also go up, with it. I don't know. Is that going to leave a sour taste in people's mouths? Because I've seen in forums where Nintendo's made similar moves, and it's definitely had a negative appeal to some consumers to where, well, we've got this. Yeah, it's been out for a few years, but to be able to play this game, you're going to have to buy something new.
I don't think they'll go I don't think they're going to go the route where they did like with the new 3DS, where they say, hey, these games are only going to be playable on this new system, but they will definitely come out of their way to say it will play better on the new hardware. It's kind of, it's just kind of like the PS4 Pro and the One X. Like the games, there's a lot of games that got patches to where they were locked 60 frames or locked at 4K and stuff like that on the new hardware, where the older systems just can't handle it. So. If they go that route with it, cool. But if they choose not to do a new Switch, which there's a lot of stuff saying they are, but if they choose not to, everything's just all smoke and no fire, as long as it runs good, just dumb the graphics down, I guess. But more than they kind of already are with their watercolor. Anytime you see any game director developer use watercolor, it's because they don't want to texture stuff so they can make the game run smoother. So, just a little bit of gaming trivia there for you. All right. Well,
is that the question?
What?
Nothing.
No, that's not your trivia question. I actually was, when I was researching stuff for trivia this week, I did get wrapped into like a Did You Know Gaming for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and how in the Japanese version of the game, there was like a journal that talked about how humans would mate with Pokemon in this area, and then when they redid they localized it, they changed it to where Pokemon would eat at the same dinner table with humans.
Oh, no, actually, I believe in the other because I've seen pictures on the internet, so I know that goes on.
Poor Lopunny. Gardevoir. All right. This next part is probably going to take up the majority of the rest of this episode. So if you came for news that's not TV and video or TV and movie related, that's all the news for this week. But everything else, we have. Just going to kind of bring up the major TV shows and movies that are related to video games that are coming out in the next couple years. There is some stuff that has been announced a couple years ago that hasn't, nothing else has come out about it, but we are going to just briefly mention it. We don't have to spend forever talking on it. So I have the list broken down for everybody, so we can kind of everything's kind of organized-ish. So we're going to start with some of the TV shows, stuff at the beginning, more just like not a lot known, and then as we go down, it'll be stuff that's more well-known and has lots of more news about it. But starting off, though, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is an anime being developed by Netflix. If anything sticks out that you want to talk about, we can just just bring it up.
Well, I hope they don't screw that up.
Yes, the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah, that'll be the final nail in the Cyberpunk coffin if the anime fails.
But it doesn't have to do like great, but it just can't be
bad.
Yeah, it just can't be bad. It doesn't have to be great. It just can't be bad.
I think as long as didn't they do a Castlevania anime a few years ago?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, they did. They went like 2 seasons.
Just do it like that. Do Castlevania with Cyberpunk. Brothers in Arms. I don't know if y'all are any fans of that the Brothers in Arms series. Carmen Sandiego. Amazon is doing a Fallout TV show featuring the creators of Westworld. So that definitely could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so, I feel like that's got such a following with Fallout. You know, you've got action figures, board games, comic books, novels. There's a lot of people that have made their own little Fallout snippets. There's a really cool one about a guy trying to get a bottle of Nuka-Cola from some super mutants. And I think the bar is already set so high that they need to take that in consideration going into the show. Because anytime you got a bar,
going to have a little bit of a fallout with that.
Exactly. You know, anytime the bar is set that high initially, your only option is to blow past it. Because if you don't, people are going to just rake it across the coals.
Yep. Fatal Frame being adapted by Silent Hill director Christoph Gans.
That's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is that supposed to be live action or is that animation?
Don't know. I'm going to assume it's live action.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards it being live action.
All right. The Halo TV show can actually confirm that's actually still happening. It just got picked up and is going to be premiering on Paramount Plus whenever it comes out. The Assassin's Creed TV series launching on Netflix, executive produced by Ubisoft's Jason Altman. Series will be an epic, genre-bending, live-action adaptation that will, quote, tap into the iconic video game's trove of dynamic stories to create a live-action, animated, and anime series.
It's gonna be shit.
So let me ask. So let me ask this, because I'd like Assassin's Creed, but I've never really played into any of the games. The live-action movie that they made for Assassin's Creed, is that anything like the video games? Because with the movie, it was, they were trying to figure out accurate stories throughout history dealing with assassins, kings, and things like that. So they would basically mind jump somebody into a body hundreds and thousands of years ago to relive these events that were going on, and he would come back, and I don't know, and that was kind of weird because at the time I'm not sure which Assassin's Creed I was paying attention to, but it didn't seem like any of that was real, and it just didn't seem like the live action movie had anything to do with the actual game.
It does. I don't. Assassin's Creed is my favorite series. I did not enjoy that movie. I think the idea and the effort was there. They didn't execute it as well as they should. But as far as like over the course of the games, that is a big piece of it. You basically have two warring factions that have been going at it since the dawn of mankind over pieces of Eden, and they kind of have their own origin story of how mankind got here. And it's all about, if you get down to it, it's about population control. It's about a lot of things. And yeah, Abstergo is the company. They do develop a system to where genetically they can trace you back so that you can enter into the mindset of an ancestor. Now, in the games themselves, they kind of correct that to where they don't necessarily have to be an ancestor, but you still enter into this kind of VR experience where you're reliving someone from the past. And they do that to get answers because a lot of the stuff that they seek is lost to antiquity. So, I mean, it's got a really good story. I mean, it draws you in. They definitely spend a lot of time focusing on time period and lore to really draw you in. If they can somehow replicate it on TV as well as they do in the games, then they might have something. I just don't feel like they replicated that system enough for that first film that they did.
I mean, maybe they go the route and they kind of take it down the same way that they did, or similar experience to how that show Vikings was. I don't know the director of Vikings, but I mean, I could kind of see them if they were going to do an Assassin's Creed show. I'd want it to go kind of like that route with it.
Yeah, if that's with the most recent one, but there's so many Assassin's Creeds at this point that are just spread out across different time periods, different groups of people. You'd have a lot, you got Egyptian, you've got like the back during the Peloponnesian Wars, you've got the founding of this country, you've got, French Revolution. They've really covered the gauntlet so far. So they got a lot of inspiration to draw from.
Right. All right, and the last TV show is actually The Last of Us that is coming out this year. It's exclusive for HBO Max, being produced by Neil Druckmann, who's the head of Naughty Dog from PlayStation, as well as Craig Mazin from Chernobyl. And it's starring Pedro Pascal, who is known as the Mandalorian. He's playing Joel. And Bella Ramsey, whose only role has been as Lyanna Mormont from Game of Thrones. If you've seen that, the little tiny Scottish girl, I'm not going to tell you what happens to her. It was great, though. She killed a giant. It's great. Smallest person in the show killed the biggest thing out there other than the dragon. But yeah, they're actually both from Game of Thrones, so it's kind of no surprise that HBO is going to kind of stick to their pool of people to pull from. I wouldn't be surprised if any more Game of Thrones stars actually show up in this. But yeah, that's coming out this year. I'm mixed on whether they should have done a Joel and Ellie story for the TV show, because I thought it would be more interesting if they did just other characters that were experiencing shit while this is going on. Because, I don't know, that's just me. And I think I'm the only one here that's played The Last of Us other than Steven watching me play The Last of Us Part 2, right?
Well, I think the problem is that if you've played the games, then you already know that story.
Yep.
So, unless they're going a different route and they're going to change it, you're basically rehashing something that you've already sat through. And to me, that's been a big problem with most video game films or TV shows, is that it's a rehash of something you've already experienced instead of something new.
Well, my only thing I can think I can look forward to, and it just depends on how they do it, but each act of The Last of Us, at least in part 1, is a different season. So you do the stuff in the fall or the spring, and then you go into the summer, then the fall and the winter. And there is like a little bit of a time jump as they're just traveling to where they're trying to get to. So I could definitely see them being able to flesh out those stories. Because, the stuff that happens, without trying to spoil too much, like when you go to like try to find like Joel's friend, like at the second act of the thing, it takes like maybe a couple hours of gaming, but it's set over the course of one day. And they could definitely flesh that out to be a couple episodes where they're there. Just stuff like that. They could flesh it out. I honestly think that if companies want to do video game shows that are based on the games themselves, I think that going the TV route is the better option. But if they're going to go with like we're telling our own story, but it's set in this universe, I think that's where the movies really can shine through with that. Like some of the ones we'll get to. But anyway, that was the last known TV show, and that one's the only one that actually has like an actual concrete, I'll say, release window for this year. Everything else is movie related. Kind of go through some of the ones that are not a lot known about. But, we will start with Rainbow Six Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan. I'm sure he's been in a lot of stuff. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head was he was the antagonist in the first Black Panther movie.
Killmonger. He was also Apollo Creed's son.
Yeah, Apollo Creed. Yep.
He's got great on-screen. Like, I don't care anything about Rainbow Six, but I would watch those films just for Michael B.
Yep. Well, there's gonna be plenty of them because was it two planned films where he's playing the main character John Clark.
Nice.
It was supposed to be released in 2020, but got delayed due to COVID, so no idea when that's coming out. Tomb Raider 2, Alicia, how you say her last name, Vikander, reprising her role as Laura Croft. So that's expected for release next year. Steven's favorite, the Minecraft movie, coming out March 4th of next year. Tells the story of a teenage girl trying to save the overworld from an ender dragon, and it's live action.
So is
No.
she a villager?
No, she's one of the last humans,
So villagers aren't humans?
so to speak. No.
I mean, they don't look like
they,
humans.
they
but-
all they all look like Squidward, but just not blue.
Yeah.
They're
I don't know. It's
I guess the correct word would be like they're kind of like ancestors, elders, or something.
so it's
what
in
have
the
you?
past.
Yeah, like
It's like Star Wars in the past, but the future.
In the past, but the future.
So from what I'm understanding with the lore,
Whoa,
the
there's
village-
lore to Minecraft.
oh, you would not believe how much lore there is with Minecraft. So from what I understand with the lore, the villagers were a part of a builder race. And they built extravagant things and this, that, and the other, and they started to dabble into magic, where the illagers come in because the illagers had gotten so proficient with it, they were losing ways to be creative, so they started trying to bring people back from the dead. The builder race, they weren't having that, so they kind of pushed them off to the side and banished them and everything. They managed to build what they call nether portals, which is a dimension to hell. And they started dabbling with bringing people back to life, and they created this mob called the Wither, which was destroying everything on the planet. Everything it touched it decayed. So they built strongholds to go into a new realm other than the Nether, which of course was a bad idea from the get go. Called the End. But they didn't know it was a one-way trip, so everybody that went into that portal couldn't come back. That's where the Endermen come in, because there was this strange fruit, and they were eating this fruit, and they learned teleportation, and they lost their building abilities and couldn't talk anymore. And there's an Ender Dragon that is locked in that realm. So I don't understand how they're going to get the Ender Dragon out of a realm that nobody can come back from to the overworld. It just doesn't make sense. There's no way in that lore that you can see that actually happening. Because once you go through the end portal, the only way to get back from the end is to either die or beat the Ender Dragon. There's no way back. So it just doesn't make sense.
Well, clearly she's going to beat the Ender Dragon. I mean,
But see, the thing is, if it's going to be in the overworld, how did the Ender Dragon get to the overworld? It's two different planes of existence.
Is this
there.
all like? Well, hold on. This is all like fan theory from the internet, though. No, where are they getting this from? Because I've played Minecraft and I didn't get any of this stuff.
When was the last time you played Minecraft?
There you
I
go.
mean, well, no, hold on. Like, you mean play it as in like survival mode, like actually trying to do stuff, or just dicking around? I played it the other day, just dicking around. I don't know. I killed the Ender Dragon legitimately sometime last year.
Well, it was.
I mean, you got that text that's weird at the very end of it.
Yes.
The kind of that existential whatever, where it kind of
So
places you in the game, but in reality as well.
So there's this group of, well, not really a group of people. It's a guy who kind of just leads the charge on these lores and everything, and fans will come up with their hypotheses and things like that. And a lot of the dev teams on the things that they do lore on are confirming these things. Like they did it for Minecraft, they did it for Sonic, Five Nights at Freddy's, Mario. A lot of these people are coming out of the woodworks and like, hey, this is how this lore is supposed to go. This is what's going on. Even Notch, the person who created Minecraft before he sold it to Mojang, is working with him, and he's like, hey, this is what's going on. This is how this is supposed to go. So that's the reason why I was explaining all that to you, because they're saying that this is canon.
Wow.
I wonder if Hero Brian will be in the movie.
He needs to be.
All right.
Sounds like J.K. Rowling has her hand in some of this. Oh yeah, fan said that? Sure, so Charlie.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, also they're gay.
Yeah. All right.
But see-
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, just one more thing. But see, that's the problem with lore nowadays too.
Is that all Minecraft is gay? Got it.
Steve is gay.
Jenny's gay as well.
He's really Alex.
But it just seems like the game theorists are doing the work for these people sometimes. It just seems like it just doesn't make sense. Like,
I'm gonna be totally honest. Like, I bet you the movie isn't gonna have a damn thing to do with anything you just said. I think it's gonna be really simplistic and really stupid.
It'll be like Jumanji, the next level, and all that. Where some kids playing kids playing a buggy version of Minecraft, and they end up getting sucked into the game, and they turn into like half of it takes place in real life. The other half's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm a block," and then it's just.
What do you mean you didn't update Adobe Flash Player?
I can't. I was hanging out over at Alex's house. I think no, I was over at David's. Sorry, I was over at David's, and I was just trying to find something for his kid to watch, and they had like some cartoon show that was really stupid about these sheep in it. Sorry, this is a tangent. So I was putting it on, and the sheep were like they opened up this portal, and they end up going to Minecraft world, or like some generic Minecraft world. And they get in there and they turn into these little blocky people. And I said, how the hell did Microsoft just say, yeah, you guys can do that? Like, it was everything Minecraft except for the word Minecraft being shown on the screen. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. We already kind of talked about it. Assassin's Creed 2. That's coming out.
I hope they do it better.
Maybe if there's more of a cult following, they'll put more effort into it. Brothers in Arms. Not one, but 2 Call of Duty movies. Which, whatever. A movie based on Centipede. But it was being made by MoviePass, who has since shut down. So, no idea if that's coming.
They're going to make a human centipede.
Oh
God.
I think we've had enough of those. The second one was, I couldn't even finish the second one. It wasn't that it was terrible. It is, I hate anytime anything in movies, in horror films especially, has to do with eyeballs, fingernails, or teeth. I can't do it. And this dude was like breaking these people's teeth in their mouth, and then just like, oh God, I can't do it.
Oh, so you've never watched Darkness Falls, then, right?
Is that the third one?
No, that's like it's like a producer depiction of the Tooth Fairy.
Oh no!
I remember that.
No.
Yes.
No.
You've got to watch it.
Nope.
You've got to watch it. You got to watch it.
Nope.
Get over your fear and watch it.
It's almost like a texture thing for me. Like, I cannot stand touching drywall. Like, it literally will send a cold chill down my spine. Like,
really, dude, I can't squeeze cotton balls because it makes my teeth hurt.
What?
Hey, look,
Like,
you know,
we're
true
all wired
story.
differently.
Look, Ellen DeGeneres brought it up on her show one time, and I had such a moment because I was like, oh, thank God I'm not alone. I don't know what it is. There's something about squeezing a cotton ball, that texture just goes straight to the nerve of my teeth. I don't know.
We're all just wired a little different.
I mean, I can't do coconut just because of the texture, but like I'm eating the coconut, not. I guess it's not as weird
I
as
don't,
y'all's.
shredded coconut's weird though because
Yeah.
sometimes it just feels like I'm eating shredded plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get
It
that.
won't
Coconut
stop me
flavor,
from
I'm all
hammering
about that. I'll
mine. So.
cook with coconut, but like, yeah, shredded coconut, especially when it's not even toasted. Sometimes
Yeah.
even when it is toasted, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, main reason I
Coconut
can't eat
cake,
German
yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah,
That is the
it's so weird.
That's how I feel about avocados, like the mushy
Oh, I
avocados.
love
Ugh.
avocados.
yeah, I love them.
All right. Before we start making people hungry, depending on when you're watching this, you may already be eating or whatever. But anyway, just in
Or
case,
pooping.
or pooping, or driving to work, or whatever. Don't get in a wreck if you're driving to work. Contra is a live-action film that's being produced in China by Beijing Starlit Movies, so it's going to be a knockoff of Contra.
That's awesome.
So, but that's like a Chinese film though. It's not like a.
Yeah, it's a Chinese film.
I hope it's like way the fuck over the top.
I do too,
And
and
just-
I also hope they can only move the way they did in the video game throughout the entire fucking movie.
Are we talking about the 2D or the 3D cutscenes that they did?
2D.
2D, yeah. Everything's just, it's the whole movie just a side scroll.
Like their bodies are mangled, so they have to move that way. It'd be fantastic.
All right, we have The Division being developed or produced by David Lech, who was the producer behind Deadpool 2, starring Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Wait, hold on. Chastain?
Chastain.
I was gonna say, how'd she earn
You
that
said
name,
Chastain.
Yep. Did I? Chastain. Duke Nukem being produced by Gearbox Entertainment. It's starring rumored to be starring John Cena
I can see that.
as Duke
Awesome.
Nukem.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean,
Totally.
no one else would fit the bill as well as he would these days.
I don't know. What about Brock Lesnar?
Appearance wise, he'd probably be better. Could he pull off that character though?
Yeah.
He's Duke Nukem's like, whoo. or whatever the hell he does.
I hope they do a moment like that in the movie.
He's
Like
like
the fourth wall.
He's like, you can't see me. Steven, Five Nights at Freddy's movie being developed by Blumhouse, who is known for like literally all the major paranormal spooky movies these days. Pretty sure they did all 6 Paranormal Activities, Insidious. I'm sure there's tons more. They're like the #1 like horror film production studio these days. They've got their hands in just about everything.
I just hope that they have something extra to add to it because storyline's too convoluted. And I mean, I'm sure a couple of months of research could fix that, but it all boils down to a guy wanting to bring his kid back after he slaughtered about 15 kids, and then he slaughters another 37 in his research. So I'm like, if they can bring something extra to the table, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Fruit Ninja. I just put.
Hell yeah.
No.
Epic story.
Half-Life being developed by or produced by J.J. Abrams.
Of course.
Can we finally get closure from that? I hope so.
Well,
We don't have Half-Life 3, so.
it's just a movie. They'll do Half-Life 1 and 2 and and then do a spin-off TV show.
I
and all
don't
the
know
little
why,
sequels.
but for a moment, I thought you meant, like I heard you say Half-Life, but I thought you meant Second Life. And I was like, how boring of a fucking movie would that be?
Wait, doesn't Half-Life Alex, doesn't that count as a sequel?
I don't know.
I don't know. I was totally off-put that it was a VR-only title. I don't like when game series do that.
It was a launch title exclusively for the HTC Vive or whatever their most recent VR headset was. Which I thought about buying one until I saw that they were $1,200, and I was like,
Yeah,
Really?
They're not fun.
yeah, no. You can blow my whole stimulus check and get me a VR headset.
Right.
I
want to pay off my car.
Yeah. Just Dance. Again, no. Like
That's interesting.
Like,
I could see it.
It's just gonna be a High School Musical, but
No, I'm hoping like maybe it's like a Saw version of it. Like you have to dance until you die.
Throw some Tron visual effects in there.
There we go.
I could see that happening.
Saw meets Tron.
With dancing.
With dancing.
With dancing.
And I'm sure there'll be like some amazing visuals and some upskirt shots, but then like they die, and it's great.
Pure Ways with a machete.
A Mega Man movie from 20th Century Fox, which is when the film was announced was probably going to be helming that, but now 20th Century Fox is now part of Disney. So if that comes out, Disney will be making a Mega Man movie, which sounds weird. Metal Gear Solid. Go ahead.
I mean, they already own Marvel, so yeah, it's already canon for them.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
true.
Mega Man could. I mean, it just depends on which route they go. It could be good.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. Not going to be a straight adaptation of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. This is the one I can't stand the most. A Rabbids movie from
No.
I can't wait.
But
It's gonna be on the same level as Minions. I can't wait.
But yeah, that's where I'm going with this. The only thing that could save it, well, first off, it's being produced by Ubisoft and Sony, but the writers behind it are the writers from Robot Chicken. So
Beautiful.
See it happening.
Yeah. Like, if it's more of like a maybe not a PG-13, but just like a dark humor Rabbids movie, maybe. All right, and then these last ones are like the bigger movies that have more stuff about them. First off, Resident Evil, being directed by Johannesburg Roberts, who did 47 Meters Down, will be the first of 6 planned movies in a reboot of the Resident Evil film franchise.
Huh.
The Conjuring's James Wan is producing at least 2, or at least the first of the films, and production started in 2019. Richard, does the Resident Evil film franchise need a reboot, or should it
Definitely. God, the first run was horrible. I didn't like anything about those Resident Evil movies.
You think they should bring back that Mila Jovovich?
No.
Like,
It's part of the problem. No, they need to. Yeah, I don't even know who they're going to go with. I'm a big fan of unknowns when it comes to video game movies. I don't like having like big name people. I think it kind of takes away from it a little bit. But yeah, they just, those movies went so weird and sci-fi, and I don't like it. But to an extent, the games almost kind of veered off in that direction. I don't think we're going to get the kind of experience from like Resident Evil 7 or 8 that's coming, but yeah, I'm hoping for a much different experience this go round.
all right, Super Mario the movie, which is not like the original one that's live action. This is an animated Mario movie through Illumination, who is behind Despicable Me and the Minions.
I'm hyped about this.
Illumination will do a good job.
Being produced by Chris Meledandri and Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the creator of Mario. Coming out supposedly still next year. Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2, which it was announced back at Pokemon Day 2019, which being, who is his name? Oren Uziel. I'm probably butchering that. He was the writer behind 22 Jump Street, and he is doing the screenplay for it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to release alongside Detective Pikachu 2 for the Switch, which is also in development currently. Because the first game launched, I think, a week before the movie came out on the 3DS. Just Cause, which the director behind John Wick is behind it, and Constantine Film, who was behind. I guess they're involved with the current Resident Evil films, and the current Hitman films are behind that. Gears of War announced in 2016 with Universal, and
Long time coming.
Dave Bautista really wants to play Marcus Phoenix, and he wants to play him so bad that they added Dave Bautista to Gears of War 5 as a playable character. Because that's how bad he is.
I think he definitely should play that part.
Yeah, it's a long time coming on that one. The storyline is great in my eyes. I mean, it's at the time when it came out, it was nothing like it in my eyes because it was always fighting against the same race, and if they did fight outside the race, it was like, I don't know, it was like this weird sci-fi feeling that you got from it, like aliens and UFOs and lasers and probes and things like that. That's just the feel that I got from it. With that one, it was just like the locusts were here well before the humans were, and they're just trying to take back their fucking land. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much the concept on that. And just, I want to see how they're going to implement these weapons, because these weapons are like wonky at best. Yeah. The Lancer, the Hammer of Dawn. I think the only two weapons on there that are like normal are the long shot, which is the sniper rifle, and the bolt-top pistol, which is a revolver. I think everything else is just weird.
Chainsaw guns and explosive bows and bow and arrows. I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is one of the ones I'm excited for. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Everyone from the original cast is returning, and Steven, I hope this is not a spoiler, because you said you haven't seen it, but apparently they're going to be introducing, Tails. I don't know, I just put Miles in there.
Yes.
He's introducing Tails to the story, and possibly Knuckles, but that's supposedly coming out next year.
Nice.
The Borderlands movie, which this is the one that everybody's talking about right now, because this has like the most all-star cast of a video game movie of all time. So it's being developed by Lionsgate Studios, and this is pretty much the cast as of right now. Kate Blanchett playing Lilith, Jack Black playing Claptrap, Jamie Lee Curtis playing a character named Tannis, Kevin Hart is playing Rowland, and Ariana Greenblatt, who, if you don't know who that is, she played young Gamora in Avengers Infinity War. When she's the one who asked Thanos what did it cost, and he said everything. But she's playing Tiny Tina, and is being directed by Eli Roth. No idea when that's coming out.
I don't know about Kevin Hart with Roland. I don't know if any of you guys have played beat Borderlands, but Roland was like too serious of a guy, and it's just not for Kevin Hart at all. Well, I mean, but he can make it work.
You know, they've got Kevin Hart and Jack Black. I would be surprised if Dwayne Johnson doesn't show up somehow in this movie.
Right.
He should be Roland.
Even as just some kind of cameo
he
character.
Roland.
The Uncharted movie, directed by Ruben Fleischer, who directed Venom, starring Tom Holland, who is everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man currently, playing Nathan Drake, and Mark Wahlberg as Drake's mentor Sully. The movie is heavily inspired by Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and it's scheduled for release in February of next year. And they have actually finished filming this movie so far, so it is just now in post-production and doing reshoots and stuff like that. And I did read something after I made these notes that apparently Tom Holland had a really hard time switching like personas back and forth between Nathan Drake and Spider-Man for the new Spider-Man film. So those kind of characters are going to end up bleeding into each other in some way, just because I don't know what that means, but for how the film's going to go. And then finally, I think this is probably the biggest one out here, the Mortal Kombat movie, which is coming out, I believe, next month, right? April 16th. Who said it's going to suck? Did you watch the trailer?
It's going to suck.
Oh, man.
They all suck.
I don't have high hopes.
Really?
Oh.
I'm not going to go as far as Michael, but I don't have high hopes.
I don't know. That movie just
Like,
it looks intense.
Look, I watched the trailer, and this was the only thing I came away with. Who the fuck is Cole?
Well, if you're a Gears of War fan, it's the Cole train.
I have never seen Cole. I have never played as Cole in any Mortal Kombat game, but he's in the movie. Who the fuck is Cole?
They're gonna put him as a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11.
I hate when they do stuff like that. There is no Cole. And what the hell? What about Liu Kang? Like, is he not the good guy? What if Cole kills him?
Oh,
and what happens?
Cole Kang.
Well, that was like only.
You know, it'd be awesome if
Well,
Cole
then he's
dies in the
gonna
first
be
5 minutes. It'd be
a
badass.
Stone Cold Killer.
Like
No, it looks incredible. It really does, man. Goro looks awesome. Special effects, the characters look great. I just don't know about Cole, man. I just don't know. That's really thrown a wrench in my whole opinion. I hate when they do that.
Wow. But anyway, that's the...
Yeah, well, hold on. To piggyback on that, go back to the Resident Evil movies. Who the fuck was Mila Jovanovic or whoever? She wasn't in the damn games. Who was she? I hate when they do stuff like that.
All right. Well, that's the last of the video game movies and TV shows that are coming out in the next couple years, if not this year. So that being said, that is everything we've got for this week, except for this week's trivia question, who submitted this to me on Twitter. His username is Meechflow. Before I read the trivia question, though, this is the current scores. Michael is in the lead with 5 points to Richard's 4, and Steven has 2 points.
2 points.
Then again, Steven's had to miss a couple episodes, so there's a little bit of leeway there. All right. So you all probably know that the Super Mario Brothers movie was the first video game movie. But which one of these was the first video game TV show? Was it the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, the Legend of Zelda show, Pac-Man, or Double Dragon? Steven.
I want to say. I want to say Pac-Man.
All right. Richard.
I mean, I want to say Pac-Man as well, but I'm trying to think. Before that, it was like that Zelda cartoon, like piggybacked with that Captain N, the Game Master, back in the day.
Well, excuse me,
Exactly.
princess.
No, I'm gonna stick with Pac-Man and just be wrong.
Michael.
I'm pretty sure it was the Zelda one. I think
Yeah.
Pac-Man, if I recall, is actually the newer cartoon out of the bunch.
See, I feel like I
Because
saw
it was
Pac-Man
3D
back in the 80s.
animated.
It was
I
like
don't know,
a really.
I never saw a 2D one.
Here's the problem. Maybe I'm confusing it with the cereal commercial, but I
Maybe.
thought there was like a cheesy ass like Pac-Man cartoon from the 80s.
So, Michael, you're locking in Zelda as your final
Zelda.
answer? You would be happy to know that Steven has gotten a point this week, and Richard did too. Pac-Man was the
Wow,
first
really?
TV show.
Wow, so it
Um,
wasn't a commercial. All right.
The show literally was called Pac-Man. It wasn't called... Reanimated was a show, but that wasn't the original one. Came out in 1982. Zelda...
The year I was born.
Zelda and Mario both came out in 1989, and Double Dragon came out in 93. So, Michael has 5, to Richard's 5, to Steven's 3 points.
I'm coming back.
He's coming back. The most epic comeback. All right. Now that that's done, let's plug some socials, because I know all of us are ready to go to bed, probably. So, Steven, we'll start with you.
So, if you've been paying attention to me on SoundCloud, I did a sort of yin and yang type deal. The name of the two recent beats that I made was What's Taught in the Light and The Darker Side of Things. Um, just predicting the feel, the flow, as you will, of the instrumental. Um, and that was actually pretty good. I finally got the producer block taken care of, and I thought that was pretty fun. I made both of the instruments within 2 days. So those are on SoundCloud if you can go and support that. And I'm also thinking about, it's not in stone yet, I want to do a retro week on Twitch. A lot of the childhood games that I grew up with, anywhere from Sonic to Shatterhand to Ranger X. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I do want to make a retro week on Twitch, so just tune in and we'll see. You can find me on Twitch, The Breaks, and on SoundCloud, Breaker Beats 2020.
All right, Richard.
Check me out at Board Game Breakdown. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We have pictures of awesome painted miniatures every Monday. And just to let people know, the Kickstarter for Simon's Zombie Side, Undead or Alive, their Western take, that has ended. Late pledges are available now. And then Mythic Games has their Super Fantasy Brawl Round 2, which has about 7 days left to get on that. But it looks like Simon's next. I got the video on my Facebook page. You can check it out. The other half of the Marvel United game they did, they're doing the other half of the Marvel Universe, which right now it's just X-Men, but I'm pretty sure they'll throw X-Force and Fantastic Four and the rest of the other half in there. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
All right, Michael.
I love that. I love that YouTube channel.
Michael.
And not a whole lot going on with open box tech deals. Five Below has some like intro gaming gear. Yeah, I mean they got like everything from like LED headphone mounts and mouse pads that light up. I mean they're really pretty cool. Kind of breaking out of their $5 range on some of the stuff, so watch out if you're not really expecting that. But I mean, I won't say it's top of the line stuff. It's by Bunga, and it's actually kind of hosted's not the right word, but kind of like promoted by like a really popular streamer. So that's kind of cool. But if you just need some introductory stuff or something to like, you know, just have secondary, I mean, it's nice stuff. Even got microphones and things, and they even got for PS4. Scribble nuts.
You know what kills me is Scribble Knots Showdown came out and it was $50 on the Switch. I was like, it'll be a fun party game. So I buy it, right, for $50. A week later, their sales were so terrible. I was probably the only person that bought it. Sales were so terrible that they dumped it down to $25, and now you just got it in a double pack at Five Below. Like 2 years later. And I think I've played that game one time.
It's unmasked and unlimited both together. So yeah, $250 a game basically for the PS4. Yeah. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did they have a lot of them there?
Bonus cut. Yeah, there was quite a few.
The one in Hendersonville?
Yep.
Might have to grab it.
It's kind of like
Maddie would like it.
That other Overwatch game. I can't think of the name of it. When it came out, they had this a horde of them there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember that.
But anything else, Michael? Unsolicited nudes?
Unsolicited nudes is broken well past 200 now. We're on to like 225, and one of our newest members is actually being pretty active, so I think I'm going to give them a promotion.
Nice. All right. And if you want to find anything involving me, just go to twitter.com/Meechflow. I have not been streaming here lately. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty and not feel like sharing it with the world. But, maybe one day I'll come back around to streaming. But I've just been getting sucked into Outbreak mode and playing it for 4 or 5 hours straight and then just going to bed. just grinding crystals in that. But
I feel that.
Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Next Gen News Week. Michael, would you do the honors of taking us home?
This week's podcast is brought to you by animal butts that you can shove into your butt. And people like that. Good night.
Short, sweet, and to the point.